Alright, in this short video, I will show you how you can measure a current in a circuit using a multimeter. For this purpose, I will use both the multisim and also if you are doing it in the real lab and where you will be using the breadboard, how you can do that, same. Right? So as an example, let me take a simple circuit here. Right? Let me pick a resistor of 1 kilo ohm and I'll take a voltage here, let's say 5 volt. So it's power DC power, and you also need a ground. Alright, now you can close this, and here is the circuit. So we need only one resistor. I'm going to delete this. I'll make the circuit as simple as possible. Okay. So this one, let me keep it on rotate vertically. Okay. Now let me change the voltage to 5 volt. So change the value from 12 to 5. Measuring the voltage is not a problem. We can always measure it with the multimeter, right? With the multimeter. So let me take a auxiliary multimeter here, and this is the positive one. I'm connecting it here, and this is the negative terminal, the black one, black probe. It's going to be connected here. Right. Okay, sorry for that. So you can open the multimeter. This is the front panel of the multimeter as you see in the lab. So unit's been connected. The positive is connected here and the negative is been connected to the ground. Okay. Now switch on the meter. It is now VAC, meaning it's measuring the AC voltage, but we want DC, so you need to click over here, DC volt. Right. Now voltmeter, so multimeter is ready to measure the voltage. Click on the simulation here, run. You can see 5 volt. Now what's happening is this 5 volt is applied across this resistor, so we can measure the 5 volt. That's fine. Now what we want is when you apply this 5 volt across this resistor, what is the current going to be? As per the Ohm's law, you know, current is going to be 5 volt divided by 1 k resistor. That's going to be 5 milliampere, right? Let's measure it. In order to measure the current, there are a few things that you need to do. First of all, the cable, this is to measure the voltage. In order to measure the current, the red probe has to be connected over here on this terminal. So I'm going to delete this. And take a wire from here, this one, from the lower one. Okay. And this is going to be the one which is used to measure the current. So we delete this also. Now first of all, you need to change to the current measuring mode. For that, you need to press, now it is DC volt, you need to change it to DC current, right? So for that, shift and here, now it is AC, meaning you are going to measure the DC current. Now another important thing is whenever you measure the current, you have to keep the multimeter in between this the branch. For example, if you have to measure the current flowing through this one, what you need to do is disconnect this one, disconnect this wire, and put the meter in between. That means this terminal has to be connected here, okay, and the black one, the ground, has to be connected to that. So you disconnect and connect it through the meter, right? Now what will happen is current will flow through this one, through this wire, coming to the meter and complete the path this way. Okay. So this is the important point. So you need to break the connection and put the meter in between. That's what you have to do. Okay. So now we are ready to measure the current. Make sure it is on ADC. How you do that? Once again, if it is in VDC, press shift and this button. Okay. Now you press on the run here. You can see it's 5 milliampere. Right. So this is how you measure the current using the multisim simulator. But what if you are working in the real lab where you are using the breadboard and a real resistor? I'm going to demonstrate the same thing with the help of a Tinkercad program. Okay, Tinkercad. You are already familiar about that. So this is the Tinkercad. I'm going to create a new design. All right. It has to be a circuit, new circuit, correct? So it have to here, circuit, new design. Create a new circuit. Okay. First of all, we need the breadboard, correct? So breadboard, I'll take a larger one. For that, I'm going to change this basic to R. Okay. Now here, you can get a reasonably larger breadboard. Okay, so this is the breadboard we are going to use. So take the breadboard and keep it here. All right. So let me create the same circuit that I showed you on the multisim. For that, first of all, I need a power source. For the power source, I'll be using a battery. What is the battery here? Okay, this is temporary. So we got this breadboard. We also need a power supply. Power supply is available here. In the instrument section, you can get a power supply from here. So I'll pick and keep it here. We also need a multimeter. I'll take a multimeter from here and keep it here. Okay, so we need a breadboard, we need a power supply to give the power. We also need a multimeter, correct? We also need the resistance or resistor in order to create the simple circuit. Okay, so where is the resistor? Here is the resistor. I'll pick a resistor. I'm going to make it horizontal. Okay, so now we got all that we need in order to complete this experiment. Okay, so first of all, I'll keep this resistor here like this. Okay, so you remember the circuit. The circuit is very simple. We want a power supply to be applied across the resistor, correct? So let me show you here. I'm going to delete this here. Just want to show you the circuit once again. It's very simple. All right. Okay. So we have, this is the circuit. We have a voltage source that need to be, and that voltage need to be applied across the resistor. Okay. Fine. So this is the power supply, and here is the positive terminal. This is the negative terminal. Okay. So I'm going to connect a wire from this power supply to this plus button. You can see a plus button here. Once again, if you don't see that, if you didn't see that, you can see a small plus button here, right? So I'll take a wire from here and connect it to the plus button here. Similarly, I'll take a wire from the negative terminal and connect it to the lower side of the board. Okay. Now, what is the setting of the voltage power supply? I'm going to set it to 5 volt and 5 volt. Basically, this is the settings I want to do. Okay. Now, these 5 volt need to be applied across the resistor, right? So I can take a wire from any of these points. See, all these points are same horizontally connected together. So I'll take a wire from here and connect it to here. So you see vertically on this one, this is same node, same point. So when I connect a wire from here to here, that means this resistor is been connected through the wire to this power supply. Similarly, other end I'm going to connect it to the ground. So ground is already been extended here. I take a wire from here, anywhere I can take and connect it to here. This is done. Now I want to measure the voltage across the resistor, right? It's very simple. So this is the negative terminal, this is positive terminal. In the real case, you can see a red probe and a black probe. So I'll take a wire from here and connect it across the resistor. And this is negative terminal, and we must be able to see 5 volt being measured, being displayed on the multimeter. So when you run the simulation here, start simulation, you can see 5 volt across the resistor. So far good. See, to measure the voltage is easy. We did that quite comfortably. Now how about measuring the current? Okay, let me stop the simulation. So the procedure, as you seen earlier, we need to keep the meter in between that particular the connection. So in order for this, and let me remove this multimeter first. Okay, I will remove this wire, and keep the meter in between. So I'll connect this positive here, and negative here. In the real lab, you need to do some changes. You need to change this probe. You know that, right? From the voltage, there are 3 terminals on the, like this. In the real lab, this is what you're going to see. Okay. This you need to switch the red one from this terminal to this terminal. In the Tinkercad, that is not been shown. So let's understand now. It is current measuring mode. So here, when you click over this, you can see it is voltage. So I'm going to change it to the current because we want to measure the current. Okay. So what are the things that we did? We kept the multimeter in between this positive terminal of the power supply and one end of the resistor. Okay. So what will happen now? Let me show you with the help of a screenshot. Okay. So what will happen now is the current which is because of the voltage difference, current will flow through this one and through the meter, it is going to come back, okay, through this one. This is how the current will flow. All right. Okay. So let me go back to the simulation. Okay. So we placed everything correct. Now I'm going to start the simulation. See, we have applied 5 volts across 1 kilo ohm resistor. So the calculation is going to be 5 over 1 kilo, which is 5 milliampere. So we were able to measure the current. All right. So I hope this demo is useful to you. Right. So in the next video, I'll give you a little bit I'll give a circuit with more resistors. Right. Okay.